we can start. Let people come and join. If you
Yeah,
can
Muthu,
wind
we
up
can
a little
start.
early, also that will be try to be better. Right,
Yeah.
let me share my screen.
We can start.
Okay. So we all know that we all are. I hope we all are working with Selenium. So for a long period of time, this is one challenge that we all would have faced. One thing is like having the Selenium work for even the modern web technology and the browsers, which is going to have challenges when it comes to locators. Like it may be we may be very super good in creating XPath, but time and then the challenge is like what if the XPaths are dynamic, what if the ID is dynamic, what if tomorrow the front end developer has changed a lot of things in their application. That is where we all are going to have this phase in our QA called as script maintenance. So script maintenance is very big time consuming process when it comes to any testing teams, where 20% of the work is going to be focused on creating the scripts and 80% is on the maintenance part. Because of this, we will be having a lot of other resources who is going to dedicatedly work on the maintenance part, and we will be having very few resources who is going to work on creating new functionalities when it comes to testing the applications. So this Healenium is going to be a game changer if you are taking Selenium as the open source one for testing the application. If it is other tools like Cypress or it may be Playwright, you may not find it like it is already there, what is the big deal about it? Or if you are even thinking of no code or scriptless automation like Tricentis Tosca, so those kind of tools are already having this kind of facilities, but Selenium does not have that. So what we are going to go through, or what we are going to have, is with respect to Java. First of all, how this can be taken. Then once I hope all of you are comfortable with the Java as a programming language to deal with Selenium. I hope so. You have to tell. Is it fine?
Yes, Muthu.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just creating Maven project, just simply ignoring the architecture type.
Muthu, you are going to tell about Selenium architecture or anything?
No, Healenium architecture. Yes, we are going to discuss. Not about the Selenium. Selenium, you all know, right?
Yeah, no, I was not asking Selenium, Healenium.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just creating, the Maven project, and then I will tell where we will be, making use of it, how, Healenium is taking things. So, com demo, and I'm just giving it as.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Healenium demo, and just I'm clicking finish. The same setup that we generally do when it comes to creating our automation project. So it has built. I'm just going and updating my form XML to have Selenium first. Okay. Just adding the dependencies.
Muthu, is it possible to increase the font size of this a little bit? Yeah, now it's fine. Yes, fine.
Cool. Now I'm writing the dependency. Here we are going to have the group ID, artifact ID, and all. So group ID for this, we're just going to have the Selenium Java part. So I'm going to start with that first. This is going to be org. Selenium. Okay, and the artifact ID is going to be Selenium-Java, and the version that we are going to make use of is not 4.21, it's 4.33, the latest version. So I'm just moving on to this 4.33 to close this, and this is our Selenium part. Now I'm not using TestNG, just started with it. We can, have this TestNG discussion, once we are done with seeing what we are able to do. I'm just creating a new test class, calling it as test app. Like our plain old Java class, Pojo class, just creating it. So we already have our WebDriver. So I'm just making use of the WebDriver alone. WebDriver driver, Chrome driver, driver dot navigate to, and we will create our own page where we will make it purposefully fail. So I'm just keeping it as it is. I'm saying driver.manage.window maximize, and we will give the driver to load, or this page to be loaded. Manage timeouts. We will not use implicit wait. We have a separate function for the page load, timeout, and duration dot of seconds of 10. And we will try to find the element, but before that we need to create that element. So I'm just creating a visual, I'm just creating an HTML page, and I will keep it in the same directory where we are having it. I hope you are able to see my Visual Studio code as well, and I'm just opening it up where I have created this inside Healenium demo itself. I'm just creating this inside a separate folder called as HTML. So here itself, inside this itself, I'm just creating another folder, calling it as HTML file. Inside this, I'm creating this page, demo.html. Just a second, it's just getting created. Okay. So our HTML5 will do the trick of the boilerplate. And here, I'm just creating a form. Now, you are not going to redirect
Okay,
it to anything.
Muthu, actually, I
Yeah.
feel that there is a screen delay. I don't know whether it is only for me or for others also. Other people able to
Is that so?
see as when the Muthu type the code?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, okay.
Maybe.
Then it's for
Okay.
me.
I just created a small form.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
Again, here you are able to see that the ID is email name, and the ID for over here is email, and over here it is age, and there is a submit button where we don't have anything. I'm just taking off with only this much, and action we will call it as let's say result HTML, and let the method be post. We'll just create one result HTML5. Calling it as result page. That's it. So our expectation when we run this is we are going to find this element. So I'm just taking driver dot find element. We are going to say by dot id, and I'm just going to make use of the id. Before that, I'm going to run it live. So if I look into this one, if I click on go live, this will automatically have my server in the port 127. Where is this? My local host is going to be something like this. So I can go this, and I can change this to our test demo. So test demo.html. This is the page that we are going to navigate to. Now, based on the ID, I am going to click on something. So if I click on this, this is going to be name and for this
ಟೈಮ್ ಇದೆ,
email,
ಒಂದ್ ರೌಂಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು.
Anand, can you please go on mute?
yeah, that would be nice. Okay.
Muthu,
So
just
we'll-
one suggestion. In Eclipse, if you don't need outline, you can close it so that we can have the wider view of editor. Outline, right hand side outline pan is there, right?
I am giving,
Right-hand side.
I'm closing everything. I'm closing everything.
Yeah.
This is fine.
Yes.
Okay. On at test.com, and for this password, we don't have a password directly. We are going to give it for this age. So again, for this age, we are going to do this. So by this one called as age, and we are going to give the values just 23. We hit that submit button. So this is the button by the name submit, and we don't have any ID over here. Since we don't have any ID and we know that this is possible to be found by this, there is only one button over here. I'm directly making use of this by tag name. But this is this is not what we advise to our participants. Don't find anything based on the tag name, right? Because there will be huge amount of tag. But for us, we are just having one simple thing, so we can say that yes, this is possible. So that's what I am going to do, or that's what I'm going to do over here. So this is there, and I'm just going to run this application. So it has entered everything, and it is okay, HTML files. Okay, we have not taken it that way. That's fine. At least we are able to get this click. We are able to enter things over there. It has happened in a quite faster manner. Let me have this thread.sleep so that we all can witness it. Anyhow, there is a network delay. So not just click, we'll just enter the values over there, and I'm just running it again. Maximize, the values are getting entered. So today it looks good. This is how our regular pages will also be having. Today you have found something by XPath or by ID, it looks good. Tomorrow, let's say the ID is being changed in our front end. We are purposefully going and changing this ID, or instead of this, I'm just calling it as username, and this is user email. Now we all know that this fails miserably. If we run this, it fails miserably. We will not be able to enter anything, and there will be a no such element exception that we will be getting, as what we are experiencing over here. So what we generally do is we will go and maintain the scripts. How we do that maintenance? We already would have created our form. That is our page object model, where our object repository is going to have all those information. So one person is going to be dedicatedly working on that particular part. This is what we don't want to have. This is something that we don't want. We just want it like everything should not take that much amount of time. We don't want people to again and again go and work on the same part. So what is that we can do is we can change the way that we are going to work. So we are just going to add few things, or we are going to do few more things over here. The first thing that we are going to do is we have to create a folder where we are going to host this Healenium. Healenium works in a different way apart from what we are having when it comes to Selenium. Healenium has two approaches. Either I can go with Healenium proxy, which supports different programming languages like Java, Python, C#, JavaScript and all. And we have something called as Healenium Web, which supports only Java. So to start with, we'll think about the Healenium Web part, where for us to start with or to implement this Healenium, we have certain prerequisites. What is that is we should be having a Docker setup. Docker desktop at least should be installed in our system or in our server, where we can point it out to that. and the remaining things are going to be the same. We are going to have a Maven project with our Selenium dependency, and if you are working on other real-time applications, we are going to have TestNG dependencies to be added to our POM file. And with that, what is that we are going to do is we are going to add some more thought process. Before we go ahead of anything, let me let me make it very clear how this Healenium architecture is going to be, or Healenium web architecture is going to be. We are already having Selenium WebDriver, which is JSON wire protocol, which interacts with the browser. And based on the response that we get, we are going to ask the entire browser to get the script orchestrated through Selenium. Now here, instead of Selenium WebDriver, we are going to interact with another WebDriver or another driver called a self-healing driver, which is going to interact with three components, or you can consider as three containers when it comes to Docker. One, which is going to be the HLM, the Healenium backend. The another one is going to be the selector imitator and the PostgreSQL. So what is that we are going to have in case of Selenium? The Healenium backend is about where this particular backend is there. There are different versions to start with. When Healenium started, Healenium was there for almost a year or more than a year or so. So it has evolved a lot, and the current version, if I'm not wrong, is 3.4.6. And we are going to mention what is the name of the container, how we are going to create an image in Healenium, or in our Docker. We are going to mention the container name. If it is failure, do we need to restart? So we are going to enter all these properties that we need to have in our container, and we are going to mention what port we are going to make use of for this Healenium to work upon. The reason is, when the script fails and Healenium is going to heal it, we are going to check the logs, we are going to see the screenshots and all those things. So for that, we are going to mention this is where it is going to be present. All right. So
Muthu, what is the use of Docker and I think you mentioned a database also, right?
Yeah, we will be needing Healenium backend server, where we are going to say where this Healenium backend server is present. That is one thing. And the second thing is that we are going to create a Postgres SQL, where we are going to tell whatever we are let's say today I am working on a specific path, and it has been healed. Then it has to maintain that record, which path it has healed, or which locator or which element it has healed. So for that, we are going to make use of our DB, and we are also going to make use of something called as selector imitator, which is going to imitate, or which is going to literally do what the Selenium is going to do.
So you are making Selenium imitator, okay? Your Postgres is going to contain the history of the element which are going to healed up.
Yes.
Okay. And Docker usages?
We are going to host this entire Selenium, Healenium backend, through the Docker container. If I want to make use of Healenium web, else what I can do is, if I am going to make use of Healenium proxy, then I can have everything in my folder setup itself. For Java, for those who are using Selenium, the easiest way of doing that is using Docker web. Docker desktop using Healenium web.
So it's basically get everything whatever in the Healenium repositories to your machine, right?
Okay. Basically, that's what we are going to do using our YAML file, yet another markup language file. YAML file, we can have the entries, and we are going to create a local Postgres schema, where we are going to update all these things.
And are you using any kind of an algorithms to identify the new locator?
Algorithm is going to be already taken, Ankit. We are not going to build a Healenium tool over here. We are going to make use of Healenium tool. Healenium, they have already built
querying that. Okay, thanks a lot for that.
Yeah, because that's what I'm trying to explain it here, Ankit. We are not going to build Healenium software over here. Healenium is already built. Like how we are making use of Selenium, we are making use of Healenium. We are not going to create a Selenium tool. That is already done by OpenQA, right? So we are just making use of it. Likewise, we are going to make use of Healenium over here.
Perfect. Okay, got it.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So what is that, I'm going to do is I'm going to, create few things like we need a Docker, I mean, the YAML file, we need the setup, all those things. So I'm just going to, do that. Just let me know once you are able to see my screen. I have passed it. Let me know if you're able to see my screen.
Yes, Muthu, I was about to tell you, I'm able to see only your Eclipse screen, not other things. Just now, unless you paused it.
Yeah, I was discussing, so I just passed it out.
Okay,
So
okay.
are you able to see this, screen where I am having, this HTML files?
Yes,
HTML
currently you're
just
showing
as we
VS Code
target.
HTML file.
Yeah, VS Code. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So this is our, base folder. So here in this Healenium demo, I'm just going to create another folder. It is not supposed to be here. It is supposed to be here. Okay, let me come out and create this folder. Okay. So this is where I'm going to have this, basic Healenium setup. I'm just calling it as Healenium backend. Now, we can achieve this in two different ways. One, if you are able to create this YAML file, then you can, create it on your own for this Docker purpose. If you are already having experience in creating, the entire Docker, setup, or for the container, if you know how to do it, you can do it. I will, walk you guys through on how to do that also. Apart from this, if you are not, comfortable in creating that, it is possible to get it using curl. I will share that thought process also. So first thing first, I'm going to create a new YAML file over here. So just creating. So I'm just going to call it as docker-compose dot YAML. YAML, we all know that it is extension, or it is called as yet another markup language. So we are going to start with the version. So the default version is 3.8. I'm going to make use of the next version, which is 3.9. It's not 3.8. I'm just going to make use of 3.9. And we are going to start our services. We are focusing on three services. One is going to be our Healenium backend. Another one is going to be our Postgres SQL, and then the third one is going to be the imitator that we are going to make use of, right? So to start with, I'm going to start with Postgres database. So let me give a tab, Postgres DB. So here we are going to tell where this image is, what image of Postgres we are going to take. That's what the advantage of having a Docker. So I'm just going to say image for this is going to be Postgres 15, but it is not complete Postgres 15. There is a version called as Alpine version. So I'm going to make use of that Alpine version, which is 15.5 if I'm not wrong. So Postgres 15.5 hyphen Alpine. Yes, that's come. So this is the Postgres image that I'm going to make use of, and I'm going to give this container a name. So container name, anything of our choice we can give. I'm just giving it as Postgres -db itself. And I have a Copilot enabled, so you are able to see the suggestions that it is giving. So please bear with that. Now, whenever the service is stopped, what is that we are going to say? We are going to say that we need to always restart it. So we are going to say that restart is going to be always, and we have to mention what is the set mapping. That's what we have followed here. What is the problem? Okay, fine. Let's not worry about it. Once we are writing it, it will fix. So we have to mention in which ports we are going to work on that. So ports default one is 5432. So we are going to make use of the same. Restart. Why it is restart always? Am I not using space? Is it because of that? Yeah. Okay. So this is going to be the default port. 5432 is the default port where we are going to have. Next, we need to tell where we are going to have this particular Postgres to be present. So for that, I'm just inside this Healenium backend, I'm just creating a folder called as DB. Inside this, I'm creating another folder called as SQL. So inside this DB, inside this
Muthu?
SQL, I'm going. Yeah.
Can I have a question?
Yes, please.
Can you please explain me a little bit here why without Docker can't we use the Healenium? Why we are using Docker?
Unfortunately, we cannot use Healenium Web without Docker, Sendil. We need, Docker to, run the services, because Healenium is not something that we can only take the dependency and start running. We need a strong backend for it.
Okay, so we are using Postgres as a backend.
Backend, what I'm talking about is not only, Postgres DB. I'm speaking about, the service imitator, the Healenium backend, where we are going to mention the name of the Healenium image, where we are going to take it from, like how we are saying, it is going to be, Postgres 15 alpine. Likewise, we are going to take image of Healenium. We are going to take the image of Postgres SQL, as well as, the imitator. So this is, without this, it is not going to be easy. We need that selector imitator.
Okay.
Everything
Okay.
is needed.
Thank you.
Okay. So I have created DB SQL. So what is that? I need to do is I need to create, or I need to go ahead and initialize my, so-called Healenium, or the Postgres database. I need to, create over there. So without, creating that, it is not going to be possible. So I'm just going to make use of, the Postgres .sql file. We generally make use of init.sql. So I'm just creating one new file inside this, going to call it as init.sql. Okay. So inside this init.sql, we are going to have, the database to be initialized, or whatever, database that we are, thinking of, whatever, database that we want to create. We are going to, initialize those database inside that, or we are going to create that schema, to be so precise. So let's start with, creating that schema. So in order to create that schema, just a second. Okay. Let me create the schema, create schema. Now, what is the name? Healenium itself we will give Healenium. And we are going to give the authorization. And we will give it for the field called as Healenium user. We are going to, we need to configure this in our YAML. Healenium user, we'll call it as underscore user for easy understanding. And then we have to grant the permission. So I'm going to say grant usage on the name of the, schema, the schema called as Healenium. Healenium. We are going to say to which person. So we are going to say this. This is going to be for this user called as Healenium user. So we have created this, schema over there. Our Postgres SQL is going to, make use of this schema called as Healenium, and we are authorizing this Healenium user to make use of it. I have, granted some, permission for that. So I have to again, go here and make those changes when it comes to our Postgres SQL. And I am just keeping, or, you guys posted that this is going to make use of Spring, our Healenium is going to make use of, Spring Boot for hosting all these things. So we are going to, make use of our Spring, based environment for all these things. So let's start with this. So the volume that I'm going to make use of over here is what is to be mentioned. So I'm going to say volumes. So what is the volume that I'm going to make use of? I'm going to make use of here it cannot be as this. Volumes are supposed to be present as another entry. Okay. So I'm going to make use of my DB where I am having this init.sql. So I'm just going to say dot slash to represent this is directly from our source or the root folder, and we have this DB, and inside that we have this SQL. So inside this SQL we have our init.sql. So this is what we are going to make use of, init.sql. And what is that I need to do this? This is going to be the entry point for my Docker for execution. So I'm just going to say this Docker's entry point dot slash Docker entry point is going to be for this initdb is going to be this init.sql. This is what we are going to say. This is going to be the entry point. Then we have to mention the environment. So the environment is going to take the database, the user, and the password for it. So first thing is for this Postgres DB, we will not have in this fashion. Let's not take this. So for this, I'm going to say Postgres DB underscore DB. So this DB that we are targeting over is Healenium. So Healenium is what we are taking. Similarly, we will have our user. User is nothing but Healenium underscore user. If you are able to see this init SQL, we set it as Healenium underscore user. I'm just making use of the same variable name over here also, so that it will not create any problem for us. Now we need to have this Postgres password. So I'm just going to say hyphen Postgres password. Now we have to give some password. It will be nice if it is a little complicated one. I'm just giving a complicated password for our easy understanding. I used to maintain this password, so it is easy for me to understand. You can give any password of your choice. The more complexity it will be better. If it is less complexity, also it is fine. It is not going to throw any error, but just for our convenience, we are making it. And I have to say there is the next entity called as networks. So network is going to be our Healenium's network. So we are just going to say it as Healenium. That's it. So Healenium will do not need no need of network. Ensure that these entries are in the right indented position. Else it will throw error. So this is what we are doing for Postgres. Postgres is done till here, and in common we are going to have networks. So we will speak about that network once we are done with the remaining two entries. The second one now we are going to do is with respect to Healenium backend. We are going to call it as Healenium itself. Healenium. Now for this, we are like how we are having for this particular Postgres, we are going to start with this image. So for this also we are going to make use of this image. So for this image, we are going to make use of a specific version, that is Healenium, not this backend. Healenium hyphen backend followed by the version. So backend, the latest version that we are using is 3.4.6. So I'm just going to make use of the version called as 3.4.6 itself. So this is going to be the Healenium version. And again, we are supposed to create a container. So the container has to be given a name. The container name, we will give it as Healenium itself, not name, Healenium itself. And restart. Here, previously we gave it as always. We can change this. On failure alone, you can restart. The remaining times it can remain the same. And general ports that we are going to make use of is our 8080. Since we are going to make use of that for hosting our services, we are not going to make use of this 8080 port. The port that is suggested in Healenium is 7878. So I'm just going to make use of 7878 itself. Okay. Now we are going to say we have already created this Healenium backend, and we have configured the ports, and we have asked what is that it has to do on no failure. It is going to restart on failure. Now we need to link this Postgres to this. So if I want to link that Postgres to this, I have to say links this Postgres DB. Now I need to start with my environment setup. So when you start with my environment setup, I am going to make use of, as I said, we are going to make use of Spring Boot, services over here. So I'm just going to say hyphen Spring underscore Postgres underscore DB. So this is where we are having our Postgres DB. What is the name of the Postgres DB that we created is Healenium. Create the schema called as Healenium over here. From here only I'm taking the content. So this is our Healenium. Now we are going to mention about the schema. Both DB and schema means one and the same, but for the name of this for the sake of the entry, we are going to add the schema also. Schema is again going to be Healenium only, not Healenium user. It's going to be Healenium Postgres schema. And now we can start with our user. So hyphen Spring user, we have this user called as Healenium user. So we are going to make use of the same Healenium user over here, and we have already given a password over here. This is our Postgres password. So I'm going to mention that Postgres password over here. So hyphen Spring Postgres password is pdntspa0 exclamatory, and we are going to speak about the host which is going to be responsible to host this. So I'm just going to say hyphen Spring underscore Postgres underscore host. This is going to be our Postgres DB that we are already making use of. So I'm just giving that Postgres DB itself over here. Now for this to take, if we are not doing anything, if you are not going to take, like let's say I'm not going to make use of any other URL or anything else, I'm just going to say that the key selector is not going to be from the URL. So I'm just going to say hyphen key selector URL is going to be false, because we are not going to have any key selector URL over here. And I am interested in collecting the metric. I want to know whether the logs are going to be there, whether the screenshots need to be taken. That is what is the purpose of having this auto healing selector. When it comes to Selenium also, what we generally do, we generally create scripts and we attach either an extent report, or we will be going with the default test change report or a chain test. I mean, like that we are going to keep adding the reports. Along with that, we will be going with a screenshot where we are going to attach that screenshot to that report. So we are going to do the same process over here. So we are going to say collect metrics, collect underscore metrics, and we are going to collect it. So I'm not going to call it as false. I'm going to make it as true. And the next thing that we are going to speak about is the log. What level of log we are going to take? We are going to Selenium is going to take care of the failure, but here we are not going to think about any failures. We don't want any particular element not to be found. The main purpose of having Healenium is to avoid that no such element exception, right? So we are not going to worry about the failures. We are going to take the information about it. So our HLM, that is our Healenium log level, we are going to take it as info, right? This is what we are going to do. Now, like how we have our if you go up over here, we are having the volumes. This volume is going to tell where this is going to be taken from, or where this particular SQL, I mean the script is present, where we can create the schemas. But here when it comes to Healenium, we are not going to worry about the schemas anymore. But when it comes to Healenium, we need to tell where we are going to store the screenshots, where we are going to have that logs. So we are going to mention that things. So volumes, when it comes to the screenshots, we are going to take it in / our screenshots itself. So there will be a folder called as screenshots, which will be present over there, and inside that we will create the screenshots. And similarly, when it comes to logs, we will do the same / logs. We'll get this logs, and for this also we are going to make use of this network called as Healenium's network. So we are just going to keep this as it is. We are not going to change anything of this. Next comes our, selector. When it comes to this selector imitator, again, we need to create it as a separate service. That is where, our, indentation matters. So selector hyphen imitator. So again, where is this selector imitator is going to be present? We need to mention that image. So I'm just going to say image, and it is going to be present in Healenium / our selector imitator. So Healenium selector imitator. It is not 3.4.6 that we are having. We are having it as 1.4. This is the latest one that we can make it out. So this is going to be the image. Again, you can create a container name. We are just giving it as selector imitator. Again, when it comes to restart, do I need to restart on failure? Yes, I'm going to restart it on failure. Again, the ports. This is the port which is going to imitate our actual applications port. So actual applications runs in 8,000. So we are going to just imitate. So tomorrow when we are trying to open up this port 8000 that we are mentioning over here, we will not be able to see anything. At least for this 7878 we should be able to see the logs and the screenshots that we are having. But when we open this 8000, we will not be able to see anything. It is just mimicking the existing application setup. So again, only this much is needed for the imitator. We are just going to imitate. We are not going to do anything else. So I'm just going to have my network Selenium. Again, the indentation matters. Yes, error will be there. Okay. Now for all these things, we are just going to add yet another network. So I'm just going to say networks, and this is going to be Healenium, and we are not going to say any driver. We are just going to say the name that we are going to have over here is just Healenium. So this much of effort is needed if we are trying to create our YAML file. Now, is there a better way to do it, or is there another alternative that we can think of instead of going through all these things? Yes, there is an alternative. If you go to the GitHub page, there is an alternative for this, which is possible to be done. Let me open up the GitHub page, which can help us in making this easy to be done. Okay, here is our browser. I'm just going to GitHub Healenium backend. That's fine. I'm not a robot. Okay. So here you should be able to see that there is a curl. This curl over here is going to automatically create the so-called YAML that we have created, but we will not be able to understand what is written over here. So for that purpose only, I walked you through manually what is that we need to do when it comes to YAML file. And the similar kind of one will be created for your init SQL file also. This also can be done, right? So this is what we are supposed to do. We have done this. We have created this imitator. We have created our Healenium backend, and we have created our PostgreSQL. So on the setup level, we are ready, but we are still not done with everything. I'm again opening up this Eclipse. I hope you guys are able to see my Eclipse. Now this has failed because we have changed our script. We have changed the username, email, and all in this testdemo.html. Here it is not, it was previously name, it was previously email, which we have changed. That's the reason why it failed. I'm changing it back to name, email, thinking, with the expectation it will work. Now, again, what is that we need? We need to add the Healenium dependency over here. We already have only Selenium dependency. We need to add our Healenium dependency also. So again, another dependency that we are going to, be a part of. So I'm just again going back to this, and I'm opening up our Maven repository. So here you can search for Healenium. What is happening? Okay, let me paste what I have copied over here. So this is the dependency that we are going to make use of. It is present in EPAM. So I'm just going to make use of this dependency over here. So com EPAM Healenium is the group ID, nothing but who has created this particular Healenium driver for us. And this is the artifact called as Healenium web. You can search the Maven repository by this artifact name itself or artifact ID itself. So this is going to add the information to this Maven dependency where we can see, Healenium. Where is Healenium? Is it not built yet? It's not built. It is 98%. Just give it a minute. Yeah, now we should be able to see, the Healenium dependency over here. Yeah, here you are able to see Healenium web 3.5.6.jar. So Healenium is added to our Maven. Now what is that we have to do? We are going to, create. This is already there. I'm just going to create yet another class. I'm going to call it as Healenium locator. Now, when it comes to this, I'm going to do the same. I'm not going to do anything more. Just copying this one and pasting it over here in the main method. One small change that I am going to do is I'm going to say this is no more considered as only this web driver. Instead of this, I'm going to create a self-healing driver. Going to call it as Healenium driver is equal to self-healing driver dot create, and I'm going to pass this driver as an argument over here. I am going to make use of this Healenium driver everywhere instead of using driver. So wherever I'm having this, I'm just going to change this as Healenium driver, and all the things have been made along with this. Let me remove this, else I cannot do or convert it again back to this. Yeah, so this is driver. What we generally do, web driver is equal to new Chrome driver, but going forward we are not going to make use of the driver dot navigate to or driver dot manage or driver dot anything. We are going to find element. We are just going to make use of this newly created self-healing driver. Just we will throws this exception so that it will be handled. So here, if you are able to see, we are having this ID as name itself. Here this ID is email and this ID is age. For this only we are going to pass this values ID, name, email, and age, right? So that's what we are doing right now. What is that we are going to do better, or what is that we are going to do is we will do this and we will change it out. So when we run this again, I'm just running this, just closing this one because it's of no use to us right now. And I hope this is already live, hopefully. Not sure. Test demo. I hope it is live. It's okay. We will run it and we will check whether if it is not live, we can figure it out. Just running it out. Yeah, that is not live in that case. Not able to take this. Oh, we have not even activated it. My bad. Sorry. Yeah, you are able to see. Sandil, I hope this answers your question. Is it mandatory to have Docker over here? It is saying unable to connect to this HTML backend service. Please check if the service is up and running and verify the connection URL. So without that Docker, it is going to be impossible for us to run this. So let me open up Docker. We have Docker over here.
Okay, Muthu.
Right. So here is our container. I hope you are able to see this Docker also, right? Is Docker screen visible
Yes,
to all
Muthu.
of you? Yeah.
Able to
Okay.
see that.
Yeah, I'm going to go to this container, terminal, and let me go to this d:" directly. So here, if you observe, our project is present over here. Where is this? Reveal in File Explorer. Here is where we are having d:" Healenium workspace, Healenium demo. Inside that, we are having this Healenium backend. This is where I'm going to. This is where we are having this Docker Compose OAML, this DB where we are having this SQL, init SQL and all. So I'm just going to get into this folder called as Healenium_backend. This is what I have to go. So I'm just taking it from the itself. And where is my Docker? Here is the Docker. And I'm going to say cd, go to this. Now I need to write, Docker Compose, or, I need to, enable this service, or I need to, bring this container back to life, because we have just seen that even though we are having this container, even though we have created all these things, it is not going to run until and otherwise we are asking it to run, or until and otherwise we are enabling it over there, right? That's what we have seen. So what is that we are going to do is we are going to do the same. We are going to take it out, and we are going to just uh, enable it. So if I want to bring it up, I'm just going to make use of that YAML file, docker-compose -d. This is what we are going to do. It is just going to simply run the Docker compose for us. So I'm just hitting enter. It's running. You are able to see that it is running, right? You are able to see that the container is saying selector imitator, and this is where it is running, and Postgres DB is up and running, as well as this Healenium is up and running, right? So now we can run this. Let's go here. Let's run this fellow. Now it is taking John Doe and john@test.com, and age is 23. Now it is looking fine. It looks as if it is working properly. I'm just closing it, and for
Thanks.
Selenium. Yes,
Yeah,
this
I
is for
missed the
Selenium.
first part. So just wanted to know if, how I have to explain to the participants that, how to start with explaining to the participants if so they are novices and students. So
Yeah.
that's what. Thanks, Muthu. That was my question.
Yes, it is similar. The challenge is like other tools where we are using it for the functional testing. It is having self-healing locators. Like when it comes to UFT or Playwright or Cypress or whatever we are having, it is having that functionality. But Selenium on its own, we don't have that. And when we are going with Selenium, this challenge we always face. There will be a broken locator. And today, Docker has given me yet another challenge. Despite running it, it is not syncing with the service. So it has given initial challenges. But yes, we are able to achieve it. You are able to see those many runs that you are over here.
Okay. Like the object repository in UFT. Sorry to again and again trouble
No
you.
issues. Please.
Yeah, just like object repository stores the the way objects are actually identified, and then
Yes.
if there is any other assisting properties or anything, UFT tries to identify it maximum extent possible without breaking the script.
See,
So
what we generally do is we used to have all the setups that we have when it comes to Selenium, Bala. It's like we are not going to change that thought process of creating object repository, thought process of creating the test.ng files and all. Only thing that we are going to change is, instead of identifying that using directly this instance of this WebDriver, we are it is like we are wrapping it inside the Healenium driver using the self-healing driver.
Super.
So this self-healing driver, what it will do is it will take this YAMLs that we are having. Where is that YAML that here? If you look into this, here you are having this Docker Compose YAML, where it is going to make use of this Postgres DB to have this. So PostgreSDB is going to be responsible to tell what is the element which was previously identified by what, and it is going to have an entry for that. It is going to have an entry for that. And when it comes to this Healenium image, this is the one that is going to, that is where they have written the actual source code on how to, maintain the tree structure, which tree structure that we are trying to take. In order to do that, we are having this, imitator for the imitator service that is running over there. So this is directly going to understand how the entire DOM is going to be configured, how the DOM tree is. So based on the DOM tree, let's say I have a div which is present inside another div by the name, let's say test div. Now inside that test div, I have this ID of the another div which has got changed. Previously it was something else, and I already have an entry for that in my Healenium database, and the tree is stored over there. Now for the same tree, when I am trying to identify, there is a change. That change is what is going to be figured out using this Healenium, the logic that they have written inside the actual source code. How this is going to take, for that it is going to make use of this Postgres and this imitator service.
So the Healenium is not possible without the Docker and the Postgres, because it needs a database to store the whatever previous entry. Okay. Yeah, fine. Thanks.
Without Docker, we cannot implement this. If I want to even implement the proxy part also, we have two things. This is Healenium Web, which is supported, which supports only Java for it. If we are going to make use of Python-based automation testing, where we need this Healenium to be there, then we have to go with the Healenium proxy. Again, for running that proxy, we need Docker. Without Docker, not possible.
Okay. Can we have a step-by-step, can I, if I am a novice, will I be able to set up Docker?
I have created this PPT. You can, make use of this. I will share this one. What is that, and what is the approach that we are, make? I hope the entire screen is visible, right?
To be honest, I don't even know about Docker. Containerization, I know the concept, but then I have not worked with Docker. Will I be able to?
Nothing, Bala. It is very simple. What you are going to do is you are just going to create or you are just going to download this Docker desktop, which is available over the internet, and you are just going to click on this terminal where you are going to make use of it. So after that, what you are going to do is you are just going to curl it. So how to curl, how to do that, I have already mentioned over here. So you can make use of either Healenium proxy or Healenium Web. Healenium proxy will support all these things. When it comes to Healenium Web, it will do only this much. So when it comes to this prerequisites, you have an application that you want to test. You know how to create a Maven project. You have already installed this Docker, and you have already taken this Selenium and TestNG dependencies, whatever you are looking for. So generally we make use of this Selenium WebDriver, but we are going to wrap it inside the self-healing driver, which is going to make use of the Selenium backend, selector imitator, and Postgres SQL. Now, how is this? This is how we are going to do. You are going to create this Maven project. You are going to set this dependency, everything. You can create an infra also, or whatever you want to, and you can create this YAML. This is what is the entry that you are going to have when it comes to Postgres. And this is what you are going to do when it comes to Healenium. And this is what you are going to do when it comes to, your selector imitator. If you don't want it in this way, if you are, planning to have it in another way, this is the another way that you can do. Directly, instead of writing all those entries, you can, curl it from your, the GitHub repository. Just use this command to curl or to create this Docker Compose YAML, and create another curl in order to have it this in init SQL. But ensure that the folder structure is something like this. Inside your infra, you are going to have DB SQL. Inside that only you are going to run this curl, and directly inside your Healenium infra, you are going to run this Docker Compose this curl part. It's just going to be two-step process, and then you are just going to compose. I have not written it that up-d. You are just going to say Docker Compose up-d, so that it will start your Healenium backend, and you can verify whether it is running using Docker PS, or you can verify it based on this container that you are able to see over here also. I will quickly do this for you so that you also have the sync. We are having this Healenium backend over here, and I am just removing everything. There is nothing that I am having right now. Oh, it is going to create an issue. I have not stopped this. My bad. It will say I don't know which file you are referring to. It's okay. Okay, let me delete it. There is nothing over here, right, Bala? You are able to see that this is completely empty. There is no container, nothing. I just created this Docker set, desktop, and here I just created this database and SQL, and there is no init SQL. This is also deleted now. So
Okay.
when I go here, I'm just opening up my Docker. Let me close this Docker and open also. I'm just opening up my Docker. I'm just opening up this Docker desktop. Here it is. So it is going to be plain Docker without any containers. You are just going to click on this terminal and you are going to navigate to the page or navigate to the folder where you want to curl this. So if you want to create this YAML, I can again you are going to use this curl part. You are just going to write this, curl this. That's it. It will create this docker compose.yaml file. How to verify? You can go here and you can see over here. There is a docker compose.yaml file which has been created for you.
Yeah.
Again, you can go, or you are going to go to this Docker and you are going to get into database SQL. Here is where you are going to write the second curl. So the second curl is going to be something like this. And this should create your init.sql. If you go to this folder again, db SQL, there is init.sql which has got created now. So everything is there. Again, come back, to your backend or your Healenium backend one, and you are just going to say docker compose -d. It will automatically start, the containers. You are able to see that it is getting started, right? Yeah, all these four are now up and running. Only this much is needed, when it comes to this, the backend part or the backend job that we are doing. So this line of code you already would have been written, you will be writing when it comes to Selenium, where you are going to say that all these things are going to be with reference to this driver. So driver.navigate to driver.manage, right? Driver.manage timeouts, all these things. What we are changing over here is we are just importing this self-healing driver and we are wrapping this driver inside this Healenium, self-healing driver. That's what we are doing over here. So once it wraps, what and all it is going to do is the same thought process what we are having.
I think you wrote a code for page object model or page factory, no?
Yeah, it is there.
You had written some find by code, right? So what was that regarding? I mean, that was a page object model that you had written. But then you are not using this.
No, I just directly started to test it because the service was creating like it was not in sync. So I just directly wrote the code and tested it whether it is in sync. That's what.
That's okay. Yeah. All right. So 50/50 is our Docker's this one, right? So just like okay. Once
the service is up and running, we can do this. Now this is easy. We don't want to change much of a code also. Only change is like wrapping it inside this Healenium driver, and instead of referring it using our regular web driver instance, we are going to refer it using this self-healing driver instance. That's it.
Okay, how forgiving is it? Like if the ID changes, nothing can be done, isn't it?
No, if the ID changes, it is still able to be done. Identify it. That's what we have done over here. It was
That is excellent.
here it is name. This is you name and you email. If you are able to see here, this is identified by just name and email. So, let's say for the first sprint or for the first test cycle, it is working with this ID. For the second test cycle or for the second sprint, the developers have changed it, or the front-end developers have changed it. In that case, I don't want to change over here.
Okay.
The script maintenance is going to be less for us.
Oh, excellent. That is too good. Yeah, thanks a lot, Muthu.
Yeah, so that we can focus on writing more test cases for the coverage or converting more test scripts for coverage rather than focusing on this test script maintenance.
Oh, yes. So what is the risk of failure in this? What makes it not heal? Have you explored that?
That will be, like the services that we are running. If it is not in sync, we are able to see that it failed in between. I hope, everyone witnessed that. There is a struggle in, having this synchronization going on. So I have to, verify, I have to, ensure that the synchronization is there and, it should be up and running. But if we are doing it in a bigger corporate setup, I'm not speaking about only our corporate training.
Of course.
I'm speaking about, on a, entire corporate, a project that we are going to implement. So in that case, if the resources are trained on this Docker is going to be running somewhere as a service and
service.
It is definitely going to be running somewhere as a service and we are just going to make use of it.
Thanks. Yeah, so that throws a lot of
it is going to be up and running always. So we don't want to worry about this synchronization because we are creating it, and the Docker is going to, take time to synchronize it. That synchronization, unfortunately, happily that it has happened so that, we can face the challenges and we can see it as an opportunity to understand why it is happening like that.
Okay, super. Thanks, Muthu. Thanks for your patience.
No, it's really happy when people are asking questions. So only that it is possible to understand what is that they are looking for also, right?
Yeah, one complete round we'll have to demonstrate to participants when we first time we run the script, it will pass. Second time over, the developer changes the site and our tests fail because of that. And that is what Healenium is about to take care of. It will take care of the initial, the identifiers, and whatever happens to the website, it doesn't matter anymore as long as these elements are, there in the script. Healenium will take care. So that way, I think we have to explain. Okay, thank you very much. I'm muting now.
Yeah, and I think Lakshmi, raised her hands. Lakshmi, your questions, please.
Muthu, I wanted to ask, you showed it for the ID and ID locator and the name locator, right? Will it work for all others?
We can take it for XPath also. I just took it for ID. Let's take it by this XPath. Let us, open it. Inspect it. Or I will better, take it over here. So we can easily find this as an input, which is going to have this ID. I hope this is the XPath that we can, make use of right now. Or if you are, looking for, you can do it in another way. Let me put it over here. So I am finding it. Where is the one which we have taken it without this test? Okay, just changing it instead of doing it by ID. Let me do it by XPath.
Okay.
And this is going to be the XPath that we are going to make use of. Similarly, this XPath is going to be the same for this also. For this email also, I'm just calling it as you email. So if what has happened? By ID, this is going to be by XPath. Okay, done. Now, if you observe, this is what we are having: you name and you email. So let's assume that this is our first print, and in our first print, there is no issues. It is going to happen without any problem because we have freshly identified that particular element by XPath. Let it run. Yeah. There is a delay in my network. I'm not, now it is visible. John Doe is typed in the name field, and oh, is that I have made a mistake? It is same that I have given. My bad. Sorry. Again running it. John Doe in name field, and the email in the email field has to be there. Yes, the email John Quest is there. And first time, we have identified it freshly and it is working. There is no challenge, no changes in the XPath. Now we are closing this. Things are, absolutely fine for us. We are again going back and we are going to change this. Instead of you name, we will call it as user underscore name, and we call this as user underscore email. Now, if we do this again, I'm just refreshing this page, and if where is my come on now. Inspecting it again. Now, if I go by the same, selector / input at ID equals to uname, there is no such element that is found, right?
Yes.
You are able to see that it is 0 element that is matching. So we are not changing anything. Only the front end part or the code has been changed. But when it comes to this script, we are not changing anything. We just made it as a self-healing driver. So we are just running it again. The script is not need to be maintained. That is what is the advantage of having this Healenium.
So the script has the XPath location, but the front end is not changed.
Has
It's got
changed.
the ID.
Yes.
It's got ID locator, right?
That's for XPath. We have taken it as XPath now.
Yeah, we have taken it for XPath. Yeah.
Now, if you observe, it has identified that this is the element where the XPath has changed, and it has identified and it has healed it, saying that I am going to enter it over here. If we do the same with just Selenium, it is not going to be possible because it is going to fail miserably.
Yes. Right.
And if we look at the logs also, let the log be done. Yeah.
Okay.
You are able to see the failed locator by XPath
File
is by
locator
this
is XPath and healed locator is CSS.
user email, right?
Okay. So then the Healenium identifies as CSS locator, right? And then enters the name.
Again, not every time, because since we are having ID over here.
Okay.
Since we are having this attribute,
page has the ID has been coded in the front end page.
Yes.
But our script has the XPath locator in it, but the Healenium has located it as CSS.
The reason is we are having this ID. there is a CSS selector possible. What if I am having, XPath without that CSS, where I am having, immediate sibling, or where I am having,
Right.
where I am
Right.
trying, I am not
Dynamic,
trying to find it
you're
by
talking about
NC.
dynamic elements, I guess, right?
Yes, in that case, it is not going to take it as CSS selector, because CSS selector fails in that case. That is the reason why we go with XPath, right? When we are not able to go with CSS selector at all, that is
Yes.
where our XPath is going
Last
to help.
option is XPath in the locator
Yes.
identification of an element.
And that is what we have all been trained also. XPath should be the last,
Last
option that
one.
we have to go with.
Option to be taken up. Yeah.
Yes. So it is taking the
Then-
same thought process.
Okay.
So you're talking about in the locators, 8 locators, last option is XPath, right?
Yes.
Yes.
No, I don't think so, right? Class is the last option.
No.
No. Class comes after name. Name, class.
See,
First
No,
comes
no,
ID.
First
no,
is
Lakshmi.
ID.
Class, see, the very first locator is ID. ID is a unique.
Yes.
The next locator is name.
Yes.
See, class is not preferable because most of the element will have the common name as a class.
Exactly.
The class is the last locator to be used.
Sindhil, it is not, on that, order that myself and, Lakshmi are discussing. See, when your code is like this, I cannot use tag name, because the code is definitely going to have more such tags. I cannot make use of an ID because the developer has not
So
given
why
ID.
don't we think of a radio button and try doing on that? I think radio button has something in that, right? Class name as well as IDs, kind of.
Yeah. So in that case, Sendil, the worst option that we will always land up is either with CSS selector or with XPath. Now, between the CSS selector or this XPath, which is preferable, we always say go with CSS selector rather than XPath. In that sense, XPath is going to be the last option.
Yes. Right.
Okay.
So
it is not that, on the precedence, it is going to be the last option. We are having only 2 options left. Either we can identify the element by XPath or by CSS. First choice is going to be given to CSS
in these two choices, first choice you are saying CSS selector.
Always CSS.
Yes. CSS selector is more faster than the XPath. That is another thing.
Yes, exactly.
True. That's true. Yes. So then the Healnium can identify by any of the locators, like it will not look for the one which the developer is given, and rather the person who's written the script, right? It will identify by its own way. That's what I understand.
Yeah, we have run something, previously. Let us see whether, it has taken anything out of that. Here we have, this is by, locator is XPath. No, nothing else. It has, rewritten on these things. So the only latest thing that we are having is, based on this one only, based on this XPath only. Whatever we have done previously, it has been overridden. So both are identified by, file locators are identified by XPath, not by ID. Previously we did it by ID, right? Latest one is XPath, so it has got overwritten. So Healenium, that part, we are not going to control, Lakshmi. That is left to how they have implemented Healenium, and we are expecting it to get identified and get healed. The intention is not, how it is going to be healed.
Finally, it has to identify it, and then it has to put the value.
As a test engineer, we should not have any challenges.
Yeah, well, yes, that identification part should not have any challenges while running the script, right? It has to smoothly run the script, by identifying each and every element. Okay, one more question. How about applying it for grid? Can we apply this in grid as well?
For grid, yes, I hope, it has to be, doing the same thing for grid also, because everywhere, we are not going to change the script. The only script change that we are going to include is, we are going to just wrap the actual, Selenium web driver into this self-healing driver. That's it. That is the only change that we are going to make.
No, I didn't get it. Sorry.
if you observe the code, even if
Okay.
you are using grid, whatever the thought process is, we are not changing the entire grid code. We are only wrapping the Selenium WebDriver inside this self-healing driver. Only that wrapping is happening.
Okay, it's only for the script wrapping is happening.
Only the script wrapping is
Okay.
happening for the
Okay.
WebDriver part, not even for
Okay,
finding
starting
the
of the
elements or
okay, starting
execution.
of the port of the grid, everything is like not coming under Helium, right? When it
Nothing
executes each and
is
every
going to
client,
change.
that's when Helium comes into picture.
Only this part is where we are making the changes, Lakshmi. If you are able to see, we have created a driver and we have wrapped it inside this Healenium or inside
Healenium.
this self-healing drivers instance.
Yes.
Instead of identifying it using driver dot something, we are identifying it using Healenium dot something.
And Healenium works only on Docker. Right?
Yeah, we need Docker. Without Docker, Healenium will not work.
You can't do it in any other Docker, the other like Docker kind of any other application like.
No, Lakshmi, till now, they have not given anything. They have only, made it using Docker only.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's a good thing. Like, we need to use this. So then, still, we need to see will it identify other locators as well. We have seen only CSS and XPath, right?
Yeah, it should identify. It should identify.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Muthu. Yeah.
Thank you, Lakshmi. Anyone is having any other questions that I have to answer?
Muthu, one small question here.
Yes, please, sir.
Bala here.
Yes, Bala.
Muthu, this what you have done is good learning for all of us. That's number one. Number two, without Docker, you said Healenium will not work. Am I right?
Yes, yes.
But suppose if I try to create, if I try to go to download somewhere Healenium and put it, see if I go to my GitHub and directly download it into my local file and try to run it, does it give me any error? Is that possible? It basically looks more challenges on the environment side.
Definitely. Let me show it here. Let's say we will stop all these services over here. This is the Docker container that is having or that is running the service.
I understood that. Okay.
Yeah, I have stopped everything, and I am still maintaining the same code. This code will not throw any error because there is a Maven dependency that we have already created for identifying this class. So there won't be any problem. I'm not doing anything. I'm just stopping this service. So assuming that we have created all this Maven dependencies over here, if I try to run this, it will say that Healenium backend service is not up and running.
Yeah, that part I experienced also. Okay.
Yeah, because we need that backend server to be up and running for Healenium to work. Else, this is what we will be getting. The backend service is not up and running, unable to connect to this backend service.
Yeah, this part I also, the challenge I faced was in my YAML, Docker Compose YAML file only was trying to face it.
Yeah, because we need that service to be up and running for us to have a track of what is happening. Without that, it is not possible. We are going to literally take the image that is present inside Healenium. So that is the main purpose of having Docker. Without Docker, both the ways, Healenium web, neither the Healenium proxy will work.
Thanks. This was my query. I'm trying to work more on this, and we'll try to have a different line of communication when you try to do it. But this since now it's getting evolved, so it may take some more time for the industry to accept this.
Yeah, industry is still not taking Healenium in their regular project. That's what we are able to see.
Because there's no patent rights have not come for this. No, just like
no, it is open source, right?
It's open source. Yeah. That's the reason we could see a lot of challenges and errors that is coming. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a good learning for the day. If you try to put like this more videos so that we can learn more on that. And
Definitely.
the participants also.
We just started, we all just started taking,
I do understand. I do understand, Muthu, for a good contribution for the knowledge you have been sharing. I'm sitting in the other part of the world and listening to your thing. It
I'm
was
happy
good.
that all of us are having a wavelength to connect, and I'm happy about you guys taking
already
up
all
your
are
time.
working on the same line of activity,
Yeah, but still, taking up that personal time and investing on this is a very big step
That's true.
that
That's also
all
a
of us have
weekend.
taken.
And also a
Yeah,
weekend.
that too on a weekend. Yeah,
True.
that's a great challenge that we all have.
Because
Yeah,
I
we are
was
thankful to Muthu. Actually, yeah, it's a good knowledge sharing that you've done today.
No,
this
that's
was already
fine.
built in
That's what
EFT,
we
no?
all are here for.
Yeah. Thanks, Muthu. Thanks.
No.
By the way,
Bala.
I just would like Lakshmi. Are you in this testing trainer group? Or you're from
Yes.
some others? Oh, okay.
No, I'm in the testing trainer group.
You said you are not in testing trainer group.
I am a testing trainer.
okay,
I'm in
okay.
the testing trainer group. That's
Okay,
why I've
okay.
joined.
Yeah. May I know where are you from? Because I see that.
Yeah, I'm silent because I have a baby right now taking care of.
No, that's fine. Actually, I just want to understand that. Are you from Coimbatore or?
I'm from Bangalore location.
Bangalore. Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it. Okay, that's why I asked because.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, thanks, Lakshmi.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you, Muthu.
Thanks, Muthu. It was a very
Thank you,
nice
everyone.
session.
Thank you all for your time. I'm just sharing that PPTs, and I hope this video recording will also be shared shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you very much.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank
Good
you
day.
all.
Some of the
Bye.
Yeah, Muthu, thanks a lot for your patience. One more thing I wanted to add was some of us, like me, we don't even know the curl commands. We want to learn Docker also. Would you be able to teach us Docker?
Yes,
There
yes.
is
Muthu. Even I was
there is a
asking
guru
the
called
same.
as Sendil.
No,
Right?
Muthu, I don't know
already
much
knows
thing.
Docker a lot.
Accepted from any guru.
No. I am
Big
just
guru is there.
entry level in the Docker.
I have actually installed Docker sometime very long back and all that. I know the containerization aspect, but curl commands, I want to curl like into my
problem,
sofa.
Bala. We will do one thing. We will
Okay,
try
Muthu,
to
I
do
just
that.
stop recording. We'll continue on that.
All right.
Sure. I